this manna, Mike. I'm not sure what you own, but this here is on the mark. Like a spiral from a 5-star recruit, we throwing darts, really focused. WD-40 couldn't stop the way we grinded. In the trenches, putting that work in, I relate to all my linemen. This is for the men, the boys do not belong here. Tiptoeing to the top, we doing cone drills. The hottest show in the world, you don't even gotta search. Steady putting in work, you see the sweat up on my shirt. They wasn't aware of us at first, we wasn't on their radar. Now every play that we make, they gon' say, oh, similar to a razor blade, we gon' stay sharp. The news ain't official if it's not on the mark.
What it do? It's Wednesday. We're back on the On Your Mark show, powered and sponsored by Epic Sports Apparel. Every player compete, live from the Fishbowl Radio Network. It's up. It's Wednesday, man. Listen, hope everybody's doing well. Got my guy, Coach Jay, on the road, in the building as well. And listen, got a special guest today. This is an interesting story. This is a story of perseverance and what it takes to get to the next level, no matter what the obstacles are in your way. It's a grind type of show. You know, we in grind mode. We're here to educate and elevate you every week right here on the On Your Mark show. GeMiyea Boyd, listen, he's at East Texas Baptist, quarterback at East Texas Baptist in East Texas. But listen, he had a tough road to get there. But we're going to talk about that and more. First of all, welcome, man. Appreciate you coming through.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Coach Jay, what it do?
Man, what's good? What's good? Always happy to be in the building, even though I'm on the phone. What's good?
Absolutely, man. Listen, I know you've been around the world and now, yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? We're going to get you back in there in a few weeks whenever you get back in town, but always good to have you. Now, G, first of all, I always like to go back and get the backstory on, where you got to where you are now. Just talk about that a little bit and start how you got, moved, transition in high school. You know, you were a baseball player initially. We'll start there.
Okay, so I played baseball from the time I was 3 years old till about 17, 18, and genuinely, I was my love. I quit football probably sophomore year of high school, and at one point I just decided just baseball wasn't for me. But at my senior year of high school, I transferred schools from Mississippi. I lived in Brandon, Mississippi, and I moved to Carrollton, Texas. Ended up at Hebron High School, and at that point in time, I was just, set in stone playing baseball. Didn't even try to play football. I would say about a year into being in JUCO as a baseball player, after getting hurt twice, it was just minor injuries, but just around the wrong part of time or whatever, I just decided I was gonna play football again. So around my freshman year of college, at the end of there, about spring 19 to spring 20, I decided I was gonna play football again. Decided to train from January to June, just straight training. Wasn't going to school, was just working and just getting money and getting myself better to be in the position that I am in now. I got an offer June of that year from Southwestern Assemblies of God University, SAGU, and that was that, pretty much.
Now, talk about moving. That's a big thing that goes on. Nowadays, you have to sometimes make a move and uproot and move into a different city, a whole different state. Yeah. Speak on your mindset of that, because you have to come into the new school, kind of learn the surroundings, meet the players, meet the coaches, and then try to find your way in that particular, setting that you're in now.
So, genuinely, I thought it was going to be the worst thing. My mom, when she told me, I would say July of 2017, and I was going to be moving around September 2017. I just thought it was the worst thing that could be happening, because I had all my friends. It was my senior year of high school, so I just didn't really receive it well. Actually, it was funny because she kind of let me be. I left the house for 2 days, but she knew, of course she knew where I was, but I left the house for 2 days, 3 days, and I just wasn't really receiving it well. But then after a while, as it got more and more real, I'm leaving. We left. I get here. I didn't really speak to nobody at school. I was chilling. I sat in the house every weekend for about 3 months straight. Came home after school for about 3 months straight, just myself. And I don't know, she thought I was depressed, but I don't know. I just took the time to lean back and just be by myself for 3 months. Then I met some friends, and by the time it was my senior year, but by the time the end of my senior year came around, I had some people. a lot of them I still know to this day. We still kick it this day, but it was like 5 or 6 people. I never kept too many people around me. But yeah, that transition was tough because I made it tough. It
Right.
wasn't tough because it was tough. Like, it was just tough because I made it harder on myself than it really had to be.
Right.
But like, I mean, I made the baseball team here at Hebron my first week there. So like, I had friends that fall, but I didn't hang out with those people after school or
Right.
on the weekends.
Right.
And then over time, met a couple people here, there, and then yeah, that's pretty much that.
Well, you know, a lot of times we see not just athletes, but, you know, teens or adolescents go through things mentally, not just physically, you know, uprooting and moving to a new school. That's a lot, you know what I mean? And for you to stay strong in what you believe in and then persevere to kind of get yourself in there. It's no different in a situation, you know, everybody wants to make it to the next level, and we're going to get that when we speak. We're going to get to that when we speak on next level. We're talking about the collegiate level. But that's the same thing that you have to do when you go from high school to college. You have to make your imprint when you get there. You kind of have to you know, needle your way into a big haystack because you're, you know, a new guy, new surroundings, new coaches, new, you know, teammates, and all of those type of things go into it. Coach Jay, speak about that a little bit because you deal with, you know, players and parents that, you know, move periodically, and you try to keep them grounded as well when they get, you know, to their new surroundings.
Biggest thing, Mark, is, you know, kids having to understand that new surroundings, you know, the learning new people, learning new systems, that's a part of, you know, life as we get older, job opportunities, and, you know, just living. We take those opportunities to grow and advance our family. So that the earlier you can do that in life, the better off you're prepared later on. But the biggest thing is having that understanding of I'm still attached to what I want to do. I still want to, you know, be good at my sport, and I have to prove myself. So the earlier we can learn how to manage, you know, moving and you know, meeting new people, and it's tough. You know, some people that struggle, you know, in new environments, and it take them a while because just the type of people they are. And then you have, you know, people like me where, you know, it's easy to meet new people and get adjusted very fast. It's just a easy transition. So I think just learning ways of how to deal, how to, you know, understand, and then having a foundation of people around you that's going to support you while you go through that transition.
Absolutely. I think your village makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
What you have around you, you know, your support system. And that's, I think,
Absolutely.
you know, we talk about these type of things all the time. You know, athletes, parents need to have a support system. They need to have a circle of people that to advise you, to point you in the right direction. Coach Jay, you know, we're on between myself and you. You know, I know that we're on the phone weekly with parents about these type of things all the time. You know, as far as how to get your athlete to the next level. What you need to do to get the exposure, what you need to do to get in front of coaches. Camp season is here. You know, I've been on the phone constantly and sending people, parents, you know, things in order to get in front of the right eyes. You know, those are the type of things we talk about weekly, you know, right here on Your Marc Show. And I know Coach Jay is deep in that weekly. So, you know, that's the reason that we talk about these type of things. Now, switching gears a little bit, G, baseball. You know, I know from being a baseball parent, coached a little baseball, having a son that went to college playing baseball, that's you know, that's a whole different animal. It's a little bit different for football. I know, you know, a lot of majority of times we speak on football type of things, football type of exposure. But baseball, speak on that just a little bit. We were talking a little bit off camera about the preparation aspect and how you have to have this like daily muscle memory with this particular sport. You know, you mentioned playing from a young age. Just speak on your journey in baseball and how you worked and navigated that to, you know, ultimately get to the college level with it.
So it's actually kind of crazy. Something I really don't ever speak about. I didn't make the baseball team in Mississippi going into my 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade year. Now, keep in mind, I couldn't tell you why. I mean, I was playing against these same dudes in club ball, on teams with these same dudes, starting over them, or even just in the mix with them in general. Like a lot of them had no idea why. I mean, I wouldn't say my grades were the best in high school, but I wasn't failing. but it was just like different things. I couldn't tell you why. I didn't really harbor on that. I would say after that first time not making it, I went every year, and I played through that every year. And it's like, honestly, it stopped being disappointment, but that grind to try to be better every year and go back to that same time around the year and I see my name was just like, that mentally itself will make you just not want to do it no more. But I don't know. I was kind of like delusional and in a trance about myself. And so like that grind is, I'm talking every day, like at least 4 days a week. You hidden. I'm talking about no matter what time of the night. Like I'll be up there in the batting cages at 11 at night, hidden, and it's just something I love to do. And you know, over the course of time, I ended up being ranked in a couple of different places in the state of Mississippi, and just going to different tournaments and making a name for myself. And that's why when I moved schools, I thought it was over with. Like I thought it was all over with. I made a name for myself here. I know where I'm about to go to school at, all that stuff. But like I moved schools. They were talking about how they only had a certain amount of out-of-state students or whatever, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. So I just thought it was all over with.
Right.
I get here, same training, you know what I'm saying? Actually, I don't know. I would say I was a lot more intense on training when I was 14 to 17 than when I got to college. It was a lot more like just practice. Like we did the weight room and stuff, but like it was a lot of practice.
Right.
And when I got to college, or even when I got to high school at Hebron, like that grind was just constant. Like every day after school, like I wouldn't even go home. Like my mom got off at 4:30. I got out of school at 3:25. I would go to an extra practice after school that he would have. It's just open field or whatever, and we'll grind just all day. So it's just that preparation within itself is something different.
Absolutely. You know, you mentioned playing middle infield.
Yeah.
You know, you have to take ground balls daily.
Yeah.
You know, shortstop, second base, and even third base, the hot corner. But usually the middle infield is second and short. You got to be on ground balls every day. You have to have that muscle memory. You have to be able to turn two. The thing about baseball is it's very mental before it's physical. You have to know where you're going, you know, first and third, all those situations. You know, talk about that a little bit, how you learned the game and translated that to the field.
Watched a lot of baseball growing up, honestly. Like I can't watch it on TV now. I can if it's a highlight. I can't watch a full game on TV. I can go to a baseball game, but I can't, because it's just I've spent so much time throughout my life watching the sport.
For sure.
And playing MLB The Show itself. It's like,
no doubt.
Man, you learn baseball, and it's like if you invested into something, you're gonna learn it regardless. But I would say the hardest part about learning the sport was I had the learning curve probably when I was 12, just switching levels of baseball, going from AA to AAA baseball. It's like you do, like you said, you got to know where you're going with the ball before you get the ball. Like you got to know every situation. You got to know the different, I guess, ramifications around the situation and what's going to happen if you do this or what's going to happen if you don't do this.
Right.
So it's like you have to mentally be prepared almost more. Because, you know, honestly, like I just played in a college summer league this past summer I had people from SFA, Texas A&M on my team.
Right.
Like I just played and I competed. I started most of those games, and it's like I'm not gonna lie. You don't ever, once you get to that level, you don't lose the skill set of baseball.
Right.
Like I can go swing a bat right now, but it's like the mind. It's like that's what you have to keep sharp, because otherwise you won't understand the game for real. Because it's more understanding than physical.
Absolutely. You know, baseball has a high failure rate, you know, for baseball players. Parents with baseball players get used to failing, and when we talk about failing, you know, it's mostly you know, at the plate. You know, if Hall of Famers, if you look it up, they you know, 3 out of 10, if you're consistently a 300 hitter, you could be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
A 300 hitter. Now that's 3 out of 10 times that you go to the plate. Just think about that mentally. Think about the things that you have to do. You know, I think baseball is one of the most mentally taxing sports, you know, maybe outside of maybe golf or tennis, something that strategy-wise. You know, football and basketball and track tend to be more physical at the beginning. Mm-hmm. The mindset to finish and, you know, be, you know, different, that's what you go through with that. But, you know, I know this because, you know, when I was doing these things with my son, we did the travel ball thing, we did the select thing. You know, he started out when he was about 7. He had a hitting coach. When he was a catcher, he had a catching coach.
Exactly.
We did all of those things, you know what I mean, plus high school, and then, you know, summer ball, played in the collegiate league, all of those type of things that you're describing. You know, I know from experience from being the parent and looking for ways to get him exposure to get in front of these college coaches. Baseball is a difficult sport to be successful in, but you have to have the right mindset and the right work ethic, which is, I think, an important aspect that a lot of times, when you're younger, you don't understand that, and usually baseball is one of those sports where, the older you get, it kind of weeds certain people out or certain kids out that just don't really want to do it because, there's a high failure rate. Mm-hmm. And you have to get that around, get your mind wrapped around it. And like you said, when you get to that college level, it's a different grind. But speak on your time. You get to go to a Mountain View College, which is a junior college. Junior college, period, is totally different. That's a real grind. Yeah. You talked about practice a little bit. Speak on that.
So, junior college, I actually been junior college twice. The first time, I would say that's when I started liking school itself, because I didn't like school in high school for real.
Sure.
But when I got to junior college, I don't know, school itself was easier, but the sports grind was practicing like twice a day in the fall, all day though. Like, it was weird. Like, we would go to class in the morning, go to practice. Then I would go chill in the library because I lived 30 minutes from there, and then I would go back to practice and then go home. And it's like just that in JUCO within itself. I don't really have too much to say about it besides to give you a kind of output on that baseball wise. I couldn't lie to you. Like, I could call somebody right now and they would tell you we did 1,000 crunches a day. Like, outrageous, like as outrageous as it sounds, we did 1,000 crunches a day. Sets, he would count straight through sets of 100, and he'll probably give us like a 3-minute break in between every like 200. And I mean, I'm serious. Like, we did 1,000 crunches a day, and it sounds crazy when he say that, and he'll be like, "We're doing 1,000 crunches," and you would think, "Oh, we finna stop at 400," but no, he kept counting every time, and it's like, you gotta have core strength in anything you do in life, but that just taught me within itself, like, how to push my limits. Because if you ask a 17-year-old kid to do 1,000 crunches straight through with a few breaks in between, nobody's gonna want to do it. But I mean, it teaches you a couple of things. So I would say that's probably the one thing I learned from in my first time in JUCO.
Well, I think that people and parents, players have to understand when you get to college, it's a different grind no matter where you go. But junior college, they've made series about this. Last Chance U, basketball, football. Those are just a small snippet of what you see. But behind the scenes, it's very, very tough. And the difference with JUCO and when you go to NCAA or the college level outside of junior college, you don't have a certain time that you can work out. Like when you go to like a Division I school, let's just say Texas, for instance, there's only a certain amount of hours that they can spend coaching the players. JUCO is unlimited. Like you said, you spent 2 times a day working out, then you get your class. But it also makes you accountable for what you're doing, and also puts you in a stringent regimen environment. So when you get on the field, it's second nature to you. Coach Jay, we talk about these things all the time, being prepared to go to the next level. And a lot of times, this is where we see kids, don't succeed in, they come back home early. Speak on that a little bit.
Well, one thing, man, I applaud him for, staying in. Everything that he's been through, and he and I talk about this a lot. A lot of kids would have folded up tent a long time ago. To go through 2 different sports, JUCO twice, and to still be at it shows an amazing resolve, on his part. And that's what it takes, for athletes. The pathway isn't always clear, but the drive, the passion, the work, will always set people apart in their desire to be successful. And that's the question I always ask young athletes, in high school that have to get offers late or going into the junior, senior year with no offers. How bad do you really want it? Are you willing to go the long route, if it's something that you truly want bad enough? And to be able to, have him speak to that and actually still be able to, go out and prove and fight and say, I'm still in it. No matter what happens from here on out, those things will last him for the rest of his life, because it shows you can get knocked down and that's okay because you got to get back up and keep fighting, and that's an important skill set to have in all aspects of life. So, it's amazing to hear those stories, and even more special when you can actually, be close enough to help and guide and mentor in those situations. So, hats off to him and any kid out there that's listening and should listen and understand that just because you start in one place does not mean that you're going to end up there. You just got to keep working and keep pushing through it. And biggest thing is, as you go, if things keep turning and you have to stay focused and it don't turn out the way you want, stick your heels in, keep going. At some point, it'll turn around. Some of your greatest successes in life have come after many, many, many failures. So the person that sticks with it the longest always have the breakthrough.
Well, I think it speaks to mental fortitude as well as passion for being successful. That those are the type of things that you have to have, not just on the athletic, spectrum of things, but just in life in general. Coach Jay, you know what it takes to push through things. You just had a successful, shout out to Prospect Sports, had a successful weekend down in Houston, the 7-on-7. So those type of things, you can speak to it, and you speak life into those things all the time when you go and you speak to, athletes in a certain setting, around the country, camps, things like that. That's what you have to do it. It's more than what you just see. The final result is what you see on TV or you read about or, you see on social media. But those are the things that you have to be steadfast at, that you have to be consistent at when you go into these type of settings. But, we'll get back to you, G. Now, you go to junior college twice, and then you come out, you decide to leave baseball alone. You make the transition back to football. Speak on that decision and what made you kind of switch gears a little bit. I think I understand that particular mindset as far as changing gears. My son, I mentioned he played a long time, going into college with those things. So I can understand the burnout type of thing. Baseball is a grind, and unless you're in it, you don't know that. But you wanted to switch gears, you got back to football. Speak on that a little bit and the decision you decided to make.
So I didn't go back to JUCO the second time until this past fall, so that was recent. But I don't know. I've always loved football. And it was just like that. I remember being in a Wingstop one night in late December. It was probably it was after Christmas, but it wasn't January yet. I remember telling my homies, I was like, because we would go play 7-on-7. It's actually how I got hurt one of the times playing baseball. I was playing 7-on-7 outside.
Sure.
So I rolled my ankle. I was just always in love with football. I was like,
right.
I'm finna go try to play football. Of course, you had the ones that would be like, go do it. And then you had the ones that really was like, I had a couple people that tell me, I didn't play it all the way through high school and didn't get no offers. She's like, ain't no way it's going to happen. I'm like, okay. And, I don't know. I've always just seen through that. I didn't make the baseball team in high school, like I said, for 5 years in a row. But I made it to college still. Some of those kids didn't make it to college. So that alone just kind of just drowned out a lot of noise that comes my way. But I would say that transition, I just wanted to. I really just wanted it bad. So, instantly. I went and I worked out at A+D1 with the workout group twice with Akeem Talib and them.
Absolutely.
Probably for 2-3 weeks straight.
Right.
That first month of January.
Right.
After that, I didn't have the money to do that, so I was just like, okay, what am I gonna do? I was going to throw with my homies, just going and playing 7-on-7, throw. Manny Arsenault. I met Manny Arsenault and Matt Schultz. Well, I met Matt Schultz. No, I met Manny. Mm-hmm. And then I met Matt Schultz just on Instagram trying to find a QB trainer.
Right.
And he plays in the CFL still. Right. They trained me that year for very little to none, and I needed that at that moment in time. Manny was my weights trainer and skills trainer, and then Matt was my quarterbacks trainer, of course. Right. And they were still, because 2020, the NFL, they still did their thing, but the CFL didn't really do much 2020. So in 2020, they were trying to train and grind. So I was really, if anything, I was working out with them. and throwing with them. And that's when me and Manny was going to Built Ford, and then I would train with him on the side. Just being around those professional athletes and meeting NFL players along the way, working out with a couple of guys that played NFL at the time, it's like the grind from me not playing from my sophomore year of high school to that being around like 4 years at the time to getting an offer 6 months later. I'm not gonna lie, I tell people all the time, I've never worked that hard in my life to this day. Like, and I'm trying to get back to that, of course, but it's like that 6 months was just crazy because like I just blanked out and just went straight through it. And I would say shout out to them for training me at very little to none, because I mean we talking stuff that would have cost thousands of dollars, like just 4 or 5 times a week,
for sure,
just day in day out, twice a day, outside throwing. Like I've never thrown the football more in my life than that summer. I would say that transition after I got the offer, I still grinded those next 2 months. I got the offer in June 2020. I still grinded. August 2020 come around. We actually went to school on my birthday. I was just in grind mode. I knew I wasn't going to start. Had a 23-year-old quarterback. I'm 19. I about to turn 20. I'm 19 at the time. So, yeah, I knew I wasn't going to play. Didn't play that first semester. That second semester, I was eligible or redshirted. Went ahead and just redshirted. I didn't go back fall 21. Just trained and just, you know what I'm saying, just tried to lock in. That's when actually I went back to SAGU spring 22. He gave me more money to come back, Coach Ryan Smith. And that's when, I mean, I had already knew Coach KP from my freshman year that I was there. And that's when, you know, he got me with y'all, DR7, and y'all just met y'all and just meeting different people in general. That's when the grind got serious, I would say about spring 22, when I was just, I didn't want to go back to SAGU. Like, to be honest, I didn't. But I wanted to go elsewhere, get a couple offers. I had a couple of PWOs, but I didn't have any offers for real, so I went back. And at that point, I knew, like, if I want to continue to play football, it's going to be a grind. And then I go back. I don't play going, spring 22. I don't play fall 22. I played, like, in 3 games. And, I mean, I couldn't tell you why, honestly. Like, we played horrible that season at the quarterback position, so I don't know. But at the end of the day, I know I got beat out in the fall. I can admit that. Like, I had to tell myself, man to man, like, I got beat out in the fall as far as that first 2-3 weeks. But after that, I mean, just different things that was happening within the season. A lot of people, including myself, just thought I should play. But, like, I mean, I didn't really battle too much with that until after the fact. I went back spring 23, and that's when that summer they were all – I didn't speak to them pretty much all summer. I spoke to one person, that was Coach Battle. Coach Smith wasn't coaching there anymore. I didn't really speak to him, and my whole mindset was like me not playing really much at all that year, and just the people that they played in front of me. It was like that was a message to me, and like I just understood that like if I go back, the same thing could happen. I'm gonna graduate and just not play. I wasn't really trying to do that. So fall 23, I didn't tell SAGU until. I told a couple of people at SAGU. One coach knew all summer that I probably wasn't going to go back. But I hadn't really spoke to the Cali JUCO coach yet. But I spoke to him like in December that year, but I stopped speaking to him. Randomly, about 2 weeks before it's time to go back to school in general, he texted me one day. He was like, "So, do you want to come here or what?" And I forgot about it. And I was like, yes. I didn't know how I was going to make it happen at the time, but I was like, yes, like, let's do this. Within 2 weeks, I guess, you know, they had to do all the paperwork stuff on their end. After me doing my paperwork, they had to send the transfer tracer over to SAGU. So SAGU found out from them before they found out from me. So when the coach I was talking to told me, like, yeah, they already know, I was like, okay, I have to tell them. I told him, it was probably like a week left. I still didn't know how I was going to get to California. Car broke down 2 days before I needed to be in California. I'm already 2 days into fall camp. I missed 2 days of fall camp. My homie's mom, she works for Southwest. She gets me a standby flight. Wasn't on standby at all. Went straight through. That's just crazy how it happened, because honestly, I remember sitting in my car like that summer and was like, I don't know how I'm gonna play football. I don't know if I'm gonna make it somewhere else, if I gotta go back to SAGU, but I'm trying to get back on the field. I go to Cali. And that was, so transition back to like talking about the first move. I fought it and just didn't like it, honestly. But going to Cali, I did that just full wheel. Like, I knew, don't have my car. I know 2 people out there going there. I know it's straight schoolwork and football.
Right.
Go. Just go. Just
Right.
go. You could go out there and make a name for yourself. All I kept telling myself.
Right.
Left SAGU. I went out there and did that. I went through fall camp, had a couple injuries in fall camp, shoulder-wise. Didn't play the first game. Quarterback that was playing the first game chipped something on his collarbone or whatever, was out for 2.5 weeks. I started that next game, 4 touchdowns. Next game after that, threw 2, ran 1. 7 touchdowns in 2 games, 600 yards, 1 interception. And it's like, I'm sitting there ranked number 3 in the state of California, number 1 in my conference, for probably number 1 in my conference through the regular season. But I finished probably like number 30 in the state of California, but I was ranked top 10 in the state of California through like week 6. Week 5, threw 10 interceptions. I mean, I'm tripping. Threw 4 interceptions in the game. So, it was just a reality check, honestly, because like I had never been where I was, and I started looking at the stats every week and seeing different things on there and trying to compete with other people instead of trying to make myself better every week. And yeah, downfall. Somehow I still finished number 1 in my conference or whatever. Of course, I'm not getting any all conferences or anything because, just the performance on the back end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't play any of the second to last game and didn't start the last game, but I played half of the last game. So I played 8 out of 10 games. And I don't know. It's just like never being there and then being there now. I would tell people, like, don't pay attention to the stats. Don't pay attention to the rankings. Don't. Like, it's going to throw you off. And keep in mind, I didn't pay much attention to it at first. Somebody actually came up to me and was like, dude, you're ranked number 3 in the state right now. And I was like, nah. And then they told me, and so I started kind of looking at it, and I had to, like, just re-ground myself. I wouldn't say I got arrogant at all, but
right.
I stopped. The main thing wasn't the main thing no more.
For sure.
So it's just that whole football transition as far as up until now being at ETBU, it's like just go and just do it. Like, you got to take chances. And I would say, like, to a lot of kids now, I meet a lot of kids who will go to like a JUCO and not get no offers, or get NAIA D3 offers and then try to go walk on D1.
Right.
Or I was like get no offers at all and then not want to play football at all.
Right.
I would say, coming out of high school, if you're really that set in stone on going D1, go walk on D1 coming out of high school. Because if you really want it, you're going to play. You're going to get there if you really want it.
Right.
And then coming out of JUCO, if you don't got no offers, if you really want to go D1 that bad, go walk on D1. I didn't have D1 time coming out of JUCO the second time.
For sure.
So there was no option there. I spoke to plenty of D1 coaches, went through eligibility, no D1 time. But it's like, if I would have never took that risk, I would have still been at SAGU, NAIA, and not seeing the different levels of football that I got to see December, working with Coach Jay and Scott Rapp. Just, boom. They just helped me just learn, okay, wake up in the morning, DM, I'm talking 30 coaches. I would wake up at 6 o'clock every morning. Like, not even, it was habitually. Like, I wasn't even doing it on purpose. I wake up, couldn't go back to sleep. I was like, since I can't sleep, I'm a DM coaches. DM, 30 coaches a day. Get probably 2 to 3 responses. I just came to the conclusion I'm going to be that annoying kid. Like, I'm going to DM them 3-4 times a week. Because Coach Jay was like, you got to put your name. Like, y'all realize there's thousands of kids DMing them that day.
Absolutely.
You got to rebump your name to the top.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking DMing 30 different coaches a day, probably DMing the same 25 daily. Just daily. You know, I get a message back. They won't respond for 2 days. After that, it's like, okay, I'm going to still stay on it. Spoke to hundreds of coaches. Ended up with 8 offers. And that was my thing to a lot of kids. Like, I got kids in my JUCO now who either barely have offers or they're getting them now. But it's like, my whole thing was they wanted the coaches to hit them up.
Right.
That ain't it worked like that
Right.
if you're that guy.
Yeah.
I had a few that would hit me up, but it's like,
right.
I was interested in what I was interested in, and those few that hit me up, I was interested in them, but that was earlier in the process. And the more offers you get, of course, the more coaches get attracted, the higher the levels may get.
Right.
It got to a point where, okay, I told myself I go JUCO, I'm not going back in the NAIA. I got those offers to not have to go back to NAIA. But those kids are sitting there not getting any offers or NAIA offers, but they're not hitting anybody up.
Right.
I'm hitting up in a week, at least 100 coaches a week.
Right.
You're texting nobody, and you're complaining about not getting offers.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't have offers if I didn't just put my pride aside and just DM them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not that afraid to do that. That was my whole big thing.
Right.
Just like put your pride aside and hit these coaches up and show them that you're gonna put the work in, that you're interested.
Right.
That was my thing.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the key, and man, I really appreciate you for sharing this part, because this is what they don't hear or don't know. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to, get the 5-star, 4-star acclaim. They want the offers and things like that on the surface. But you have to, this is something we talk about all the time, Coach Jay, I'll bring you in on this. Being regimented, being consistent, overloading, overflowing with the desire, and I love that you said putting pride aside. We have a lot of pride, and I can speak to that personally. I mean, it just, you're stuck in stone about certain things you want to do, but you have to get out of your comfort zone sometime to be successful, to get to the next level where you want to be. Coach Jay, just speak on that a little bit.
He said a mouthful, Mark.
Absolutely.
And so many kids and parents have to listen to this over and over again. That's in middle school and high school, kids that are in college, struggling, trying to deal with it. There are so many stories out there where, kids are struggling, trying to make sense of and your pride, because I don't have the type of offers I think I deserve, I'm going to be prideful and quit or, do something that's against, what I'm trying to do. Him understanding, the moment where he is, and then saying, you know what, I'm going to go and earn it. That is what it's all about. That is the most important thing athletes have to understand. You take what you have in front of you and you build off of it until you get what you think you deserve. And if it doesn't happen, then it wasn't meant to be. You got to give everything your all, and what happens because that's how life is just lined up. But our job is to give whatever we want, pour our all into it, and whatever result come from it, be happy that I gave it my all. I mean, it's an amazing story that, and the beauty of it is he still has a lot of playing in front of him, so we get to see this story continue to unfold. That's the beautiful part of this process, and I'm excited that we have a front seat to sit down and watch it. And he's actually one of the flex zone coaches, so I love him early. We gonna give back very early, so that way you can tell these kids that's coming up, hey, this is my story. You see, the kids that have made it early, and you see the kids that made it late, because you never know where you're going to fit in that story. So kids have to see all parts of it. So when they're faced with it, they can say, oh, I know somebody that's been through that. How did he manage? How did he deal with it? So it's good to have, the ability to be able to help kids no matter where they are in their process.
Absolutely. And the thing, G, that I really commend you for is not settling for less. You have
Absolutely.
to be steadfast in what you do, consistent. And a lot of times, kids, and even the parents and the families get hung up on they want to go to a certain school or go to, a certain part of the country maybe. Or they might want to go to the same school that their parents went to. The parents may want them to follow their, train of thought where they went to school. It just it's no exact process in recruiting. Nothing's exact. It's always recruiting changes week to week, month to month now. Especially with the transfer portal, You understand that now as well. Being at ETBU, that's one of the most competitive conferences in the country, and that's where you're going to get that type of work at. And if you have, desires to go to the next level, they will find you. If you ball, you get the call. You know what I mean? Go be all conference. Go be all American at that particular standpoint where you're playing at. Go, like you said, you didn't even know that you were leading California, which is one of the toughest JUCOs in the country. And the thing that they don't know, and maybe people know this, but maybe they don't know about California junior college, there's no scholarships. You have to pay your own way. Mm-hmm. That's an important thing. That means you want it. Mm-hmm. You're not worried about the money. You're not, like you said, you took a flight, car broke down, you stayed. We kept blinders on to what you want to do, and at the end of the day, it's about getting on the field and being productive and showing what you can do. Now, let's flip the script a little bit before we get out of here. East Texas Baptist, you just got back. How was the spring there? And tell us a little bit about what you guys are looking forward to coming into the fall down there.
So as far as ETBU goes, I've been trying to go there for 2 years. That's the craziest part about it. Summer 2022, going to SAGU, I was trying to go there. They told me it's different coaching staff, by the way. Before I say this,
right.
They told me I wouldn't be more than the gray shirt player there, which is like a practice squad player there.
Absolutely.
I actually took that very, very personal. Like, it low key hurt, and I didn't even try to call back or try to go there at that point. 'Cause, it's just I was big on go where they want you, not where you want to go. But at the same time, it depends on what you want to do. You feel me? Anyway, I go SAGU again. Then summer come around. I try to go to ETBU again.
Right.
Try to go to a camp. Before this is the summer going to Cali. It rained out. Camp rained out. I drove all the way out there and all that. Camp rained out. Mm-hmm. None of the coaches spoke to me after that. We didn't speak. And then December come around. Old SAGU coach that used to be the head coach ends up getting the OC job there.
Right.
And take me on a visit. Coaches like me end up there. I would say as far as spring goes there, the football program is just it's a program. It's a great culture there. So like everything's organized. Like we have a strength conditioning coach, and I would say that was my favorite thing. I decided last fall to take the weight room a lot more serious. So just going into the spring and seeing, okay, the head coach at West Hills in California, yes, he was a great strength conditioning coach, but he had a lot of things to do within himself. Mm-hmm. So he would work us out and all, but like it would be just it would be quick, way quicker.
For sure.
Then you go to ETBU, we have a strength conditioning coach. All he does is work out, different groups of kids every day.
Right.
I would say that was my main focus in the spring. Put on more weight. I was sitting at like 190. I cut down to 185 and ended up at 192, but it was more muscle. So put on more muscle weight and just build better maxes and habits. So eat habits, just trying to be more accountable as well. Accountability started in the fall at West Hills, 10 minutes early to everything. Never late to anything at all because, we had to roll. That helped me a lot with accountability as far as Cali goes. Grew up pretty much when I went to Cali, in the football process at least. But yeah, ETBU had a great spring, I would say. As a whole, we weren't allowed to do any 11 on 11, which is kind of different than any other spring or any football season I've been in. I've always been able to do 11 on 11. In the spring there was always 7 on 7 and half line, or you can do the line, but it would just be run hole.
Right.
That was different, but meeting new people, new teammates, new coaches, I would say they all, they accepted me very well. Got to get along with a lot of different people. Of course, being a quarterback, you got to associate. I wouldn't say you have to be friends with everybody, but you have to associate kind of with everybody. Speak when spoken to.
Right.
Go out of your way here and there. Yeah, I don't really keep too many people around, so I spend a lot of time with myself. But I do, hang around my teammates when time presents itself. As far as the conference go, you did say it was a tough conference. It's a very tough conference. I mean, that was my whole thing. Okay, I'm going to play D3 football, but I'm in a tough D3 conference, and It's like that was where I wanted to be there so bad because like I want to go beat the teams like Mary Hardin Baylor and Hardin Simmons. Me personally, I guarantee you that we play them twice. So we play Howard Payne, Mary Hardin Baylor, and Hardin Simmons all twice this year. So that's 6 game total.
Right.
We're beating Mary Hardin Baylor and Hardin Simmons at least one time this year.
Right.
Like, guaranteed. We put in a lot of work. Coach Ryan Smith, I've been in his offense since my freshman year. I started back playing football at college.
Right.
I've known his offense since then. You know, he went elsewhere to a high school, couple different places. Got back up with him. His offense, we instilled it in the spring, and we got a lot of different weapons. And I would say we're definitely going to be a problem in that conference this year, and we'll be better than 5-5.
Absolutely. Shout out to Coach Moss. I was mentioning
yes.
that to you. I met him a couple weeks ago at a camp. Got familiar with him and chopped it up with him. He kind of said the same things. But the thing about it is, like you said, and you have to hit that home. Go where you're loved. Go where you want it. Go where they have a plan for you. They're installing the offense where it fits your strengths. Those are the type of things you have to know in the recruiting process. It's not just about getting the offer. If you're a, let's take, if you're an edge and you're 6'2" and 215 and you're playing edge in high school, why would you go to a 4-3 defense where they want you to be 6'6", and 250 and playing more of an inside technique? That just doesn't fit you. You know what I mean? You have to know that what kind of defense they have, what kind of plan they have, know who they play in conference, what kind of strategy that takes to be in that conference. Look at the conference as a whole. This is Coach Jay. It's the type of thing we talk about all the time. Look at the roster where you're being recruited at. If they got DBs that are everybody 6'1" and you're a 5'9", 5'10" corner, that may not be the place for you. They're not recruiting that type of player. You have to look at those type of things. Just speak on that a little bit. I thought that G really presented that as a whole, Coach Jay. Speak on that a little bit.
No, absolutely. He's done an amazing job of doing his research and understanding, to go where you are a fit. And the biggest thing I think with a lot of young athletes is sometimes it's a misconception of I can prove myself, if I go where, it's not normal. That's a very hard thing to do. It's not impossible, but it's tough. If a coach loves one certain type of, body type for a position, you're going to have to go above and beyond the call of duty to get him to change his thought process, because there are a lot of different things that's going to have to change. And sometimes, coaches are set with what they like. They're set with the way they run their offense or their defense, and they're set with what they feel like works for them. So the biggest thing is, when you can understand that I have to go where, I'm not trying to level the playing field against me, but it's actually benefiting me to be there because they actually want my skill set. If I'm going somewhere where my skill set isn't wanted and I have to prove myself, that's a very tough thing to do. And it's mentally, exhausting and taxing, and not a lot of guys get to actually win that battle unless you're just, amazingly talented and amazingly dogged determination to overcome that. So the best thing is, go where you want it and go where you can actually thrive within what you bring to the table.
Absolutely, man. But listen, G, I really appreciate you coming today. That's, this is something that, we're going to post this later to be on the On Your Mark Show YouTube channel. This is the kind of story, the type of determination that makes you successful. You're going to be successful outside of the game because of that. Kudos to you. Kudos to, your mom, you mentioned, and the people around you that help you get to that point, because it takes a village. It's not just what you do, but you have to have the perseverance to do it. And these are the type of things that we try to talk, and breathe life into parents and players on a weekly basis here on Your Mark Show, is to have that in order to, everybody wants to know, what can I do to get recruited? What can I do to get the exposure? Coach, what do I need to do? Can you look at my film? These are the type of the things and questions that I get on a weekly basis, and Coach Jay does as well, from parents and players. And this episode definitely tells that story, man. I want to thank you for coming out today. Go ahead and give out social medias where we can follow you. We'll be down to a game this year for sure.
Instagram, GBoyd7, G.Boyd7. Twitter, GeMiyea Boyd, GEMIYEA, and then Boyd, BOYD. You can also look up Jim Hendricks, GEM_Hendricks is my Twitter. Those are my only 2 socials.
Absolutely, man. Want to thank a couple of people for watching today. Pat Bottizi, shout out to him from the Dub. Carlos Cruz out in West Texas. Coach Pointer tuned in as well. Shout out to my guy SAGU. Listen, Coast to Coast Athletics, appreciate you tapping in today as well. Every week, man, we're here to do that, man, for you, to educate and elevate your mind. You want to know about things, you want to know about how to get recruited, we're here for you. We're going to let you hit your mark every day right here on the On Your Mark show. Shout out to my guy Maynard Mike as he takes us out, and Scott Rapp on the visuals. We'll talk to you next week right here from the Fishbowl Radio Network.
Let's do it.
Hey, this Manna Mike. I'm not sure what you own, but this here is on the mark. Like a spiral from a 5-star recruit, we throwing darts, really focused. WD-40 couldn't stop the way we grinded. In the trenches, putting that work in, I relate to all my linemen. This is for the men, the boys do not belong here. Tiptoeing to the top, we doing cone drills. The hottest show in the world, you don't even gotta search. Steady putting in work, you see the sweat up on my shirt. They wasn't aware of us at first, we wasn't on their radar. Now every play that we make, they gon' say, oh, similar to a razor blade, we gon' stay sharp. The news ain't official if it's not on the mark.